Over Property Management, Karen. Today we got the whole league gang on the pod. Of course, plus very special guest, brother of one of our elites, Eddie Ogle. Former Liberty football player.
Yep.
Just coming off a Fiesta Bowl runner-up.
Yep.
Talk about that a little bit.
I mean, if you look at the score, it wasn't like it was like looked really bad, but honestly, we were winning coming out of the first quarter, and then just went downhill from there.
Stop the count.
Yeah, I mean, it was. If I was like get into it, if you really want me to get into it,
Yes.
like I can talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, that first drive was like, wow, they really
Punched him in the mouth.
So I mean, we were punching him in the mouth, and like right off the rip, and it was. The momentum was on our side 100%, and I think Vegas saw that and they got a little scared. So that's when the refs started throwing in the towel on us and throwing the flags. So first drive, we go down there, we score. We miss the extra point. That kind of sucked, but we're like, all right, we got to see how we're going to do on defense. We get on defense, we stop them, hold them to a field goal. Big momentum. So I'm on the sidelines like, hey, we can play with these boys and we can beat them, and like we see what our defenses did. So it was like really good. So next drive we keep going. Nothing's really happening. It was kind of like a stalemate that first quarter, and then but a bunch of flags just kept on appearing, and like holding flags, pass interference stuff, and we're just like, all right, first of all, that's not pass interference whatsoever. But, I mean, it was a momentum killer because we had all the edge going in that. And it sucked because we were the underdogs and we really wanted to be there. We wanted to win, and it really felt like the refs were just holding us back for the most part. I mean, then after the first quarter, when they scored again, it really like felt like, oh, all right, we're still in this. Let's get another drive going. And then we got stopped. I mean, Cooley got his whole helmet ripped off. They didn't call a face mask on it. It was completely ridiculous. He got face masked again. They didn't call it. A bunch of bogus holding penalties. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then they were up, I believe, it was 24-6, going like right before half. We were driving down. We were trying to make it 13-24. And then that's when we threw the ball, tipped off, and then DB intercepted it. But it was not an interception. We were looking on the whole thing, and the ball hit the ground and everything.
I watched that
Yeah.
live. That was definitely not moved.
Yeah, I mean, the ball literally hit off the ground. He didn't have control of it, came up, and we're like, all right, maybe they're not going to let this happen. But it is what it is. They called it a pick. And then they drove down and scored, and then all the momentum just left.
Yeah,
it just left.
No, I can attest to that because just being in the stands. I mean, we were in it with you guys. Like we were sitting there just like, okay, like we are here. We're gonna keep cheering and doing what we have to do as fans.
Yeah.
And I think once we kind of realized, like after that face mask, and then I think the pick for us personally, seeing that and they're watching on the jumbotron and looking at it and going, oh, this is a clear like incompletion, right? And then they reviewed it, and then they still said it wasn't, and it was like, okay. And then we just felt like as fans too that it was.
But the crazy thing is, being 2,000 miles away, our fan base was incredible there. I mean, they were so loud. They were for us. I mean, I looked up in the stands. I was like, holy crap. We're about like even amount of fans, maybe even more than Oregon at the time. And I was like, oh, this is like amazing. And then we had our band there. They were incredible. The Jerry Jokers, I mean, they were all painted up as usual. And it was great. It was fun. But yeah, I mean, like halftime, like in that locker room, it was quiet, but like our leaders were just like trying to get us going, especially Tyron Dupree. I mean, I love that dude to death, and that's my brother right there, and he literally like lit a fire in people's butts. and trying to get something going, and then it came out, and then I think they scored again right off the rip, and then it was just like that third quarter went by so quick. It was like hard to take it in.
Yeah.
But it was after that it just went downhill.
Well, tell me how would you feel in the game while you were on special teams and all that? Like, how did they feel compared to y'all?
So physically, I felt like they weren't as physical, like a real physical team. They're more of like a cheap team, like try to get you like shove at their ball or something like that. It was just more just like.
I actually saw you get to a little thing on the kickoff. I was like, look at him, man.
Yeah. It was at a punt. They this guy was on me and he was holding the crap out of me, and I was just like, I was getting like pissed off, but I'm trying to run down, and then they caught the ball and they're down, and then it was like a second after he shoved me, so I smacked him right in the face, and I was like, yeah, you deserve that. And then I was like, oh shoot. Hopefully no flag on that. I was like,
they're ready to throw.
Oh, I mean, anything Liberty does, they're ready. They're like, you about to smack him? All right. But I mean, they were real cheap, but like it was, the talent wasn't just like out of this world. I mean, yes, they had a bunch of guys that opted out.
Was it the size?
I think honestly, it was D-line, their D-line and their O-line was the huge factors. I mean, having Bo Nix back there too. I mean that's a weapon in itself.
My whole thing was, I was like, if Liberty stops their running game, like at least one aspect of their offense, they have a legit chance.
Yeah.
Like if they're running and throwing on you and they got everything going special teams, it's gonna be tough. And like it ended up being tough. But like, what was there a moment where like you were like, all right, well this game is kind of like
Out of reach?
Yeah.
I think going into half, it was like that like just killed our momentum, because I mean all the non-penalties that weren't called for pass interference on them or helmet like face masks and stuff like that. I mean he literally ripped Quinn Cooley's whole helmet off, and we're sitting there like, are you serious? But like we had a bunch of drop balls. I'm not gonna say like, oh, we played a perfect game, the rest just killed everything. No, we didn't play that well after the first quarter. We did not play well. But I mean that does contribute to like all these momentum killers, like dropping balls, the pick, no like flags being thrown. But I mean it was just tough, like going into halftime, and then they scored with like a minute 20 left, and then you're sitting there like, man, this is like, it feels out of reach, but like at the same time you're like, you know what, like I've seen bigger comebacks, and you talk about like Patriots, Falcons, 28-3 coming back and winning. I mean, I'm all hyped. I'm still like, I'm locked in for the game, but it's like different for some guys, especially like guys like if they know they're gonna transfer, or they're like, I don't know, it's like
1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yes, exactly. It was just like a sad thing, but yeah, halftime really just killed a lot of the guys. But I mean, I was still locked in. I was still ready to roll.
Wait, how was the locker room? Like, what was the locker room like? Was it the actual?
So it was the visitors' locker room.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like a visitors' locker room. I'm telling you, that thing was nice. So it's like playing in the Arizona stadium. You're like walking in there and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, it's massive.
It was
a massive dome.
It was beautiful. But like the crazy thing is, it's like a 3-minute walk from the field all the way back to our locker room. So that long walk all the way back there, we're like, all right, we're almost there. Nope, we gotta keep walking. And we wrap like halfway around the stadium over there. But you walk in there and it was beautiful. I mean, multiple bathrooms, like huge showers. I mean, they had a trainer's room in there. I mean, everything was nice. But yeah, I mean, it was beautiful in there.
Best stadium you've ever played in?
Yeah, easy,
for sure.
Easy.
Because this is not your first like bowl rodeo. Yeah, you played in the Cure Bowl a couple years ago.
Yeah, I played in the second Cure Bowl. I wasn't on the team in 2019. I came on the team in 2020. So I was on the second time we went to the Cure Bowl when we played Coastal.
In Florida?
Yeah, that game, that was one of my favorite games of all time. I mean, that with Malik going off, going against what's his face from Coastal? Grayson McCall.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, that kid's talented.
You got Isaiah Likely on there?
Yeah, Isaiah Likely.
That's it.
Yeah, he's NFL.
It sucked because I couldn't play in that game at all because I had shoulder surgery week 8 after the NC State game. But, I mean, just being there and, like, witnessing it all. And that was during the COVID year, so, like, we got there. Like, you couldn't have a true bowl week because true bowl weeks are, like, you get there 5 days before the actual game. So you get to, like, go out, have fun, practice in, like, a nearby, like, high school or something like that. Cool experience. But we got there the day before, so you couldn't really do anything. COVID protocols, everyone wearing masks. Then we go in the game the next day, and I mean, millions of people were watching that game because Coastal was undefeated at the time. I want to say 17th in the rankings overall. I mean, they were a great team, and going against my coach now or my former coach now. It was crazy, but like we were off a rip for that game. Like we were going off on them at the beginning, and then a couple of plays led to making it really close, and then it was just back and forth, and it was just like, all right, this is a game. But yeah, that was a fun one.
So you said they were undefeated. Coastal Carolina was undefeated in the Cure Bowl when they played them.
Yeah.
And then y'all got undefeated this year in the regular season. What is it with Coach Jamie Chadwell that how is he like correlating all these wins in these different conferences and like what do you think it is with that?
So, Coach Chadwell, he's one of those guys you just like. He's a coach first, and then but he's a more personable coach. Like last staff, it felt like you couldn't sometimes talk to him or something like that. Because it's just like the power of them or something like that. But like Coach, he would come talk to you. He would know everybody on the team, and it just felt like more personable. But each week we always had it was a championship of the week, so we were always playing for something. So each coach would have like the championship of the week. They would pick each week, and we'd always have a word of the week, and that it really made every single game more important. Like. He always said, the most important game is the next one. That's from week 1, week 2, week 3, go on and so forth. Every single week was the next biggest one, and you always had to be prepared for it. So he really made it an emphasis, like every game's important. That's why we played so well with each other, and he created a brotherhood with us. And he helped us create a brotherhood with each other. And that's what I really appreciated about him. He loved football, he loved us, he loved the Lord, and he just made us go out there and just go crazy. It was awesome.
More so than Coach Hugh Freeze could do?
They're different. They're different in aspects. I believe Coach Freeze, great coach. I mean, phenomenal coach. You can see he's already turning the program around at Auburn and stuff. He is more of an X's and O's, to the point, great coach and everything like that. Very strong-willed and knows what he's doing.
Keep it football first type deal.
Yes, keep it football first and really going at it. But some games when you knew you were gonna kill this team, it was more he kind of felt more laid back with practice and stuff like that. Coach Chadwell, no, we're turning it up even more, each week, and I felt like that was the big difference. But still, both coaching staffs were unbelievable. What you see, what Coach Freeze did for us in the years he was here, was life changing for the program, and couldn't thank him enough for all he's done for us. And I mean, I loved him. I loved all their staff. I love Coach Chadwell and all of his staff. I mean, they're unbelievable. I love them.
What do you think the future looks like for the program?
I mean, we're on the up.
Right.
We're on the up.
Looks pretty right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be watching every single game. But, I mean, the sky's the limit for this program. We have, every time we have pro days and stuff like that come in, and you see all these different coaches from professionals come in from the NFL. They're looking at our facilities and are like, this is Power 5 level. This is Power 5 level stuff. So we can compete with any other team when it comes to like facilities and stuff like that. I mean, when it comes to NIL, that's a different story. We're not there yet, but we're on the rise, and I really feel like people always dog on the Conference USA conference being like really like weak and stuff like that. I mean, you had Western Kentucky in there, New Mexico State, you had Jacksonville State. Those were dogs. Those were dogs of teams. I mean, Jacksonville State almost beat South Carolina. They won their bowl game. New Mexico State, I think they played Fresno. They lost, but I think it was...
They beat Auburn.
They beat Auburn that year.
Yeah. These are still like D1 FBS schools.
Yeah, people are always ragging on our schedule, saying it's like a JV schedule. I mean, I can understand that for some teams, but when we played the Sun Belt, everybody's saying, "Oh, we can't compete with Sun Belt." We blew ODU out of the water, blew them out of the water. But I mean, this conference I feel like is good for us right now to build up, but I really feel like in a couple of years we're going to be in a Power 5 conference and we're going to be competing at the highest level. I mean, and we have something different from every other school, and that's the Christian like basis. And I mean, you can see how much God has blessed this campus and our like school and everything. It's been unbelievable.
I don't see why they couldn't compete in the ACC.
I want to see LU in the ACC.
I think
LU in the ACC.
LU every year. UVA, LU every year.
Yeah, Tech.
Tech every year.
I mean, why not? Like,
Yeah.
it makes no sense not to.
This is probably the worst the ACC's ever been, right? I've never seen it.
I mean,
that before.
Tech started out shaky, but I mean they're getting their program back together. They were really good at the end of the year. I'm not gonna lie about that. UVA, they've been shaky. They've been really shaky.
GPA requirements.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
but I mean, and it would help us for traveling too.
Yeah.
So we don't have to go all the way to New Mexico State or El Paso for UTEP and stuff like that. I mean, that traveling it kind of stinks, but it is good fit for right now. So if we like get past that, that'd be even better. But right now, I think it's good.
It'd be really great if they'd let us help them with their NIL collective.
Yeah, you said they're
Shout out.
they're not there yet, but I mean, Salter, you can enter the transfer portal. You text his name to that. What do you think happened there? Like, is it hush money, secret OU money?
No. I really don't think it's any of that. I mean, I've heard of stuff like that happened, not at LU, but other campuses and stuff like that. Nothing like, oh, I know for a fact, but you always hear rumors, but no. I know that K-Salt, he loves Liberty, and he always wanted to be at Liberty, but he also knows his worth. So it was like you understand where he's going when he goes into the transfer portal, but at the same time when he comes back, you're like, I understand too, again. So it's like you want him to get the most out of NIL as possible. You do, because he's a star. He's an unbelievable quarterback, great guy, everything. But at the same time, you're like, he needs to get his worth. Especially like, but the NIL has also created some obstacles, I think, for college, and like people getting like paid all this money. Some people getting paid more than professionals, and that's what college wasn't really supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be another stepping stone to get paid to get to the next level. But also at the same time, when you're at a big college, big name, and you're bringing in all this revenue for the school, you deserve a cut of that.
Do you think there should be a cap or some type of stipulation to it?
It's a little Wild West out here. Did
Yeah.
you hear what Harbaugh, Jim, said the other day? He said 10% revenue share with the players.
With all players collectively?
I don't know the logistics. He said 10% revenue share.
I mean, what do you think about the NCAA just cutting the NFL completely off? Like, people are getting granted like 7, 8, 9 years of eligibility. Like, I mean, they're playing longer in college anyway, so.
Their NFL prime's already kind of at its.
Well, here's the thing.
Once
If
you
you
go that far.
If you think about it, if they know that their NFL years are over, why shouldn't they get paid for all the years they have put their bodies and everything through at college. And like that's the flip side of everything. And there's always like two tales of the story or two sides, whatever you want to say. It gets difficult, like to the bottom line, and there's going to be different restrictions for everything. But at the same time, Liberty can't really compete with those top schools right now when it comes to collectives and NIL. But we are getting there. It's getting there because NIL is new for everybody. And all these Power 5 schools, I mean, as soon as they got all that NIL money from boosters, from companies and all that stuff, boom, right off the rip, they're getting players there. For Liberty, it's more of like, if you want to come here, you're here to create lasting bonds with your brothers. You'll win here, but I mean the NIL that'll come after, that'll come later. But most importantly, it's for your relationship with Christ, and that's what separates everybody, like us, from everybody else, and that's like the big difference. But like the NIL will come, but it's gonna take some time.
I mean, there are a lot of Liberty alums with some big time businesses, some big money to throw around. It's like kind of
It's getting there.
organizing them. Hey, I mean, we've been begging them for a meeting.
Yeah.
So like,
We'll
like,
get
meet
there.
with us.
We're gonna be there.
When you say getting there, like what milestones? Obviously, like winning that bowl game would have been like a huge milestone to like getting that access, kind of like exposure.
Going to the bowl game was a huge
even
exposure.
that,
Though, yeah.
Going to the bowl game.
Dubbing in that bowl game
Yeah.
would have been like.
Oh yeah. I mean, getting a win in a New Year's Six bowl in a Fiesta Bowl against Oregon. I mean,
What does Fiesta mean again?
Party.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, they're a field goal away from being in the championship, so it would have been a riot in Lynchburg.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, Oregon, if they would have, I mean, they were 6 points away from competing in a national championship. That's the caliber of team that we played. Yes, they had people opt out, but I mean, that team was good. They were good. So it just, if we did beat them, it would have been even better. But just going there and having the opportunity to go there, even over all the doubters and stuff like that, just it helps us.
Florida State did better in Florida State. So
I mean, Florida State, I mean, they had their best quarterback out. And a lot of people transferred, people opted out, and after not getting into the CFP championships and stuff like that in the playoffs, that really killed the momentum, and you can already tell. Like watching them in the live feed and stuff like that, I mean, they were heartbroken.
I mean, not to like discredit any of their talent or anything, but none of those guys are really going first round, so I don't really see why they were like opting out of the bowl.
I'll die on the hill. Georgia was a top 4 team before Florida State. I'll die on that hill.
which is fair. That's fair. That's very fair.
Number 1 team all year.
I mean, I think I could be wrong. I think Georgia had opt out 17 players too. So it's not like it wasn't just one sided.
Oh no, I mean Georgia should have been competing for
They
the
probably, how many you said?
17. I believe 17. Don't quote me on that, but I could be wrong.
I mean, out of 17, it's probably like 7, 8 going first round.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Johnny Wilson. I'm just not impressed by Florida State's roster that's potentially getting drafted this year. Is all I'm saying.
No, I mean, I understand.
Travis, like that Georgia game or whatever bowl game they would have gone to, it's like a 2 touchdown difference.
But you're looking at the individuals on the team. FSU created a team. You can't always look at the individuals. You have to look at the team. They're winners.
Defense was very solid.
They were winners going to the last Georgia game. They were winners, and they came together, dominated together, and everything. Even with like losing their quarterback, being Louisville. I mean,
Louisville top. They were ranked 16, right?
Yeah, they're top 25.
Yeah.
So like they still beat them, and their defense held them. Like what, 3 or 6 points?
Defense is stout. It was.
Yeah, I mean, you can't always look at, like, everybody always wants to look. Who do they have? Who are their star players? What's going to make them win? You gotta look at the team, how they bond together, how they play together, and stuff like that. Those are the different factors they gotta always play in.
Yeah, I agree with that. But with them losing Jordan Travis, like,
Yeah.
he was the oil that kept that offense like gelled together, and him going out was just like they're not the same team. They're not gelling. They're not.
Well, I mean, how can you like the last game, the championship against the ACC championship against Louisville? They still won 26-6 or 26-3. They still won. They didn't have them. So it's just like they still had momentum. They still had the team. Yes, he was an unbelievable player and he was miles above everybody else, but still, they were still winning without him. So that was like the part like I really was like, they really got snubbed. Yeah. And like they put Alabama in, and Alabama's a great team, but they also barely beat Auburn. They should have lost to Auburn.
They should have lost like South Florida.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They should have lost to South Florida. What was the final score of that? Like, it was so close. I mean,
3-3 at one point.
At halftime.
I mean, there's a lot of things you have to look at. If they're looking at who's the most healthy going into this or all that stuff, you see it kind of, but also at the same time, somebody has one loss, somebody has none. That's why I look at it.
Yeah.
It's a difference.
Should have put Liberty in the top 4.
That was fun.
Have they put out a schedule for next season?
I'm sure they do. I mean, they have the schedule out 3 years, 4 years in advance. But it's just like when you have non-conference games, you always have to fill those up. Yeah. I think they're playing ECU next year.
I think I did see that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. How did it feel, that last game, walking down? I mean, I watched you, but just tell me what was going on in your head when it ended to going in that tunnel.
So when the game ended, it was just it was heartbreaking, but also it's it can't be as heartbreaking as a last field goal or last touchdown to win it all and stuff like that. It wasn't like that. It was more of man, this is it. This is the only, the last time I got to play with this team ever in my career, and this is my last game ever. So I'm and I bled, sweat, tears with that team for so long. I mean, your roster's always changing, but this team this year that I was part of was different, and everybody got to see that. But when you're almost walking back, I mean, I'm not gonna lie about it. I was tearing up. Yeah. I was tearing up. I mean, I was heartbroken.
No, this should be heartbreaking shit. If you've never played football, this is heartbreaking shit.
It's an emotional game.
Oh yeah. People don't understand. Football is so different from every other sport. So different. Because we put in, I feel like the amount of hours and the little details and everything that we put in together, and the brotherhood and all the relationships you create. I mean, you're going to have bonds and relationships with teammates that are going to be in your wedding, your best man, and everything. That's how deep football is. And it's such a heartbreaking thing when you lose your last game, but also it's just more so it's not really I lost my last game. That's the sad part. I don't get to play with my boys again, ever again.
The little memories on the bus and the plane.
Oh my! I had more memories at practice because you had more of them, but those are the most fun times. Yeah. It was practice. Games are yeah, I mean they're fun. You're winning and stuff like that. You're going out there competing, but it just it's different at practice than it is in games. A lot different. And I mean, when I got to the locker room, I was bawling. And a lot of guys some guys were crying. A lot of guys were just sad. It was just quiet.
You think that's the only time it's okay for a man to cry?
Yeah. I mean, I say football, and then your wedding day, and then losing somebody. Those are the only times where you can't cry. Three times, only time. Socially acceptable. If you cry over that, you're weak. But yeah, I mean, it was tough.
Yeah. No, I gotcha. I guess I would say tell us a little bit just your journey, just through Liberty and then through high school and all that, and with football. I mean, I've watched you, running down 80-yard passes on a post, against Brookville, to now you're I'm looking at you playing Oregon. So
Yeah.
just talk us through that journey, dude.
I mean, when you go through high school and like you're playing football and stuff, I mean it's fun. And like when I got to my senior year, I was like the dude. I was the dude on the team, and I was like, you felt invincible. And then like it was like so fun, so many highs. And then, I mean, if you want me to talk about like how I got on the team and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about LCA, right?
You're going from LCA to Liberty.
Okay. Oh, okay. So some of your stats your senior year, nearly 1,000 yards receiving and 10 touchdowns as a senior. Had a decent junior campaign as well. But you were a team captain as a senior.
Yeah.
3-sport athlete. I mean, I'm sure all that attributes to you getting to the Division I level.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing football and you're trying to like go to the next level, I highly suggest doing 2 other sports, and that's wrestling and track. If you're playing basketball, you're not tough. I swear. Basketball is the softest sport of all time. If you want to see what you're made of and you want to be ready for football, if you want to go to the next level, you wrestle and you run track. Because wrestling will build toughness, and it will strengthen the little muscles in your body that you never even knew you had. And track will just get you so much faster. And I was like blessed the opportunity to like have a great wrestling career at LCI. I mean, it stopped short because my sophomore year I broke my elbow. I was like 21-3, and I was having a really good year. But I broke my elbow, so I had to stop wrestling then. And then my senior year, couldn't wrestle because of shoulder surgeries. But then my senior year ran track, and that was an amazing time doing that. I got to race at the Penn Relays. That was incredible. But yeah, I mean, doing all that, like having a great senior year, still 0 stars. Didn't get recruited.
It's the height.
Yeah, it's the height. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we weren't like, I think 4-6 that year. My senior year, I mean, our starting offense was our starting defense, so that kind of sucked. So like we were always going back and forth. But I got offers from like D3, D2, like real low level stuff. But I always wanted to go to Liberty. So after my senior year, I tried out at Liberty. Went to a camp there under Turner Gill when he was the coach there.
I thought so.
Yeah. So I got a preferred walk-on, and then they're like, we have no spots in the fall. Come back. You'll be ready in the spring. So I was like, okay. Then after that season, Turner Gill left. Hugh Freeze came in. So I was like, oh no, what do I do? So then I was like, all right. They told me, like, hey, they already know who you are. You just have to go through the tryout, and you're already on the team. I was like, all right, perfect. So I get there, and this is, like...
Not the case at all.
Oh, no. This is something that you wouldn't even think of. I get there, and you're doing your sign-in thing, and they're like, you're ineligible. I said, hold on, why am I ineligible? You didn't take enough credits in high school. I was 1 class short, and I said, wait, how's that possible? So in high school, I set up my class thing to be NCAA Division I eligible. So then but apparently I kicked myself out of class to take a wood shopping class my senior year. But I was like, hold on, I still had 2 or 3 extra periods free. So I got done classes early, and they never told me about this. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I had to sit out, so I couldn't do the tryout. I had to sit out a year. So I came back that fall and tried out. And then that fall, I made the team, came in the spring of 2020, and then I was on a team, and then practiced until week 8. And then I always had my shoulder dislocating, so I got surgery right before the NC State game. So I was out for the rest of the season. I didn't play any that year. And then going into the next year, I was like, all right, now like I know how the system works. I know how college football works. I'm going to get like a shot. So then I was like, man, like I'm trying to get a shot at receiver. Nothing's going on. So one of our GAs, he goes, hey, get on special teams. That's the key to traveling, to playing, and everything. So I was like, all right. So I talked to our special teams coordinator at the time, Tanner Burns, one of the best coaches I'll ever have in my life. Love that guy. He got me in on some special teams, so I got to travel that year. Got to play, like, do kickoff, punt return, would alternate, do some stuff like that. Great times. I got to play at Syracuse in the Dome. I mean, that was fun. Real fun stuff. Got to play at Ole Miss. Oh yeah, that was a game right there.
I remember that.
That was so fun. I mean, it was talking about me being undersized. When you're running down on kickoff, and the people that are running the same speed as you are 250 D linemen, 6'5", and I'm like, man, this is this is a different level here. All right. I mean, I busted my butt, tried my hardest, got through it, but I was like, man, that's a different level right there.
Yeah.
But then going into my junior year, I was still a walk on, everything, still contributing as much as I can. Wasn't real, like, at the beginning of the year, you're always thinking, like, oh, maybe I'll get put on scholarship, maybe I get put on scholarship. Nothing happened, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to sweat it. Like, the more you think about being on scholarship and stuff like that, you won't play as well. So, I was going into, we were about to play, I think, Akron at home. It was that Thursday. We were going in the team meeting room, sitting down, and we're all in there, and Coach Freeze goes, all right, we're going to do a new segment called Get to Know a Player. And I was like, what? I was like, we've never done this before in our life. He goes, all right, Eddie Ogle, get up here. We're going to get to know you. I was like, we've never done this before. I was like, this is a little weird. So I'm like up there, and I'm like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, this is not normal. I think something's about to happen. So he's asked me a bunch of questions, like, what's my favorite food? I said sushi. Everybody went wild. They're like, you're an idiot. And I'm like, all right, I understand that. I'm a sushi guy. I love it. I mean, you can hate on it. It is what it is. But he's asking me all these different questions, and he's like, all right, that's Get to Know Eddie Ogle. And I was like, all right. And everybody's clapping, and I'm walking off. He goes, oh, Eddie, one more thing. I'd like to give you a scholarship. And I was just like...
Everybody goes crazy.
Oh, it was like one of those, like everything just drains out of you, and you're just like, whoa. And I mean, everybody rushed up there. People are picking me up. People are pinching my butt. And I'm like, hey, all right, we gotta chill with that. But it was that moment. I was like, holy crap! It, like, my prayers and like my dreams like came to fruition.
That's your viral moment.
Yeah, it was one of my viral moments.
I remember Dad. I was in the kitchen like making eggs or something, and Dad just like comes out, and he's just like, he's had this grin on his face, and he's like, I just got off the phone with Hugh Freeze. He goes, Eddie got it, and I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
So the funny thing is, we were going to our meetings after that, and then they're like, do you want to call your parents? And I was like, yeah, I'll call my dad. So I called from one of the assistants' like phones, and nobody's like, somebody didn't answer at first, and I called again, and then my dad finally answered. I was like, hey, Dad, it's Eddie. And he goes, oh, hey. He goes, what's up? And I was like, I got pulled on a scholarship. And he's like, what? And then it was just like, they have it in a recording. I'm like shaking in my hand and stuff. And I was like, holy crap. And I mean, and that was like one of like the highlights of my life. And then it turned into one of the most trying times of my life. So we finished the Akron game, and we're going into the ODU game. We're playing ODU. And I was feeling really good. Like, first quarter, we're starting, like, beginning of the game. Everything's going good. I'm, like, 3 plays in, feeling good. I'm getting chippy with the other team. I'm like, all right, this is going to be a bloodbath. I'm like, I'm ready for this. Fourth time on special teams, we're punting. I'm a gunner. The guy comes out there late. I jab him right, go inside, and he kind of like horse collars me. So I go to brace myself with my left leg, and then boom, I felt like something like I got hit with a crowbar right in the back of my Achilles. I was like, oh, fell to the ground, got back up, tried to like run. I couldn't put any pressure on it. So, and I always pride myself for this. Typical people would just fall on the ground. No, I hopped off the signs. I don't want any attention when it comes to that. Hopped off the signs, threw my helmet down, and the trainers were like, what's going on? What happened? I was like, somebody hit me in my Achilles. And all their eyes went all big, and they put me on my stomach, put my calf up, squeezed my calf. My foot wasn't moving. My surgeon, he goes, you tore your Achilles. And I was like, are you serious? So I was like, tape it up. And they're like, no, you can't walk. I was like, just tape it up. They're like, nah, you can't. You're done. I was like, oh my gosh. So I went to the tent, sat there for I guess like 5 minutes, put me in a boot, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, you always have those questions like, why God?
Especially why now?
Yeah, why now? Especially after getting put on scholarship, earning my way there, I'm like, why? So I was like, man, this is tough. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be a better man for it. So, but we went in the halftime, and they do have like this little ultrasound thing, and I'm like praying. I'm like, please don't be bad. Please don't be like that bad. Go in there. They're putting it on the monitor. Like, yeah, it's completely off. And I was like, I just sat there, and then, all right, I did tear up. I didn't cry, but I did tear up, and I'm not counting that as a time to cry.
That's different.
Yeah, that's different.
That's a tragedy.
That's tragedy. Fair. But it was weird because it wasn't pain that I had. It was just like discomfort, like, oh, something's not attached down there. That was like the only feeling. So the rest of the season, I was just cheering everybody on, doing the best I can, rehabbing, and yeah, I mean, going from rehab, I got there. It's like a 9 to 12 month period of rehab. So I'm like, I said, screw that. I'm getting back in 6, and I made it like my goal to get back faster than I'm supposed to be back. So I'm going through like winter training and stuff like that, and I'm already like walking, I'm starting to jog, doing everything. My surgeon's like, you're looking really good. You're looking really good. The 6 month hits, and I'm like, I'm ready. And they're like, nah, hold on. It got to the 7th month, and they're like, you're cleared. So I was like, so I beat it by 2 to 5 months. So I was
That's
like,
some Aaron Rodgers things, right?
Yeah. During that 6 months, are you going like crazy upper body too? Or
oh
like,
my gosh. I mean, it's straight chest. I mean, you can't really see it right now because I run too much. But yeah, it was upper body city. I mean, I was hitting curls. I was like, oh yeah, I'm yoked now. But it's like, it's a different thing but the support I had from like my strength coaches and all that, they really helped me so much to get where I was. And like my trainer, like Barry Fink, he's the best. They really got me to where I was. And then summer ball, I started competing and stuff like that. But I wasn't like competing with the special teams yet because my new special team coach, he goes, I haven't seen you yet. I'm like, I understand that, but like I'm a dog. I can do special teams. And he's like I don't know yet. You have to wait till fall camp. So do fall camp. Everything's going fine. Not really doing much on offense. I mean, I'm doing the best I can, but like not really getting the reps I felt like I deserved. But like honestly, at the same time, there's guys in front of me that were dogs, and I understand that. Always felt like I always could contribute on offense, but never really like let it like hold me down. But I was like, special teams is my thing. So week 1 happens. I didn't play any special teams, and it was mostly all defensive guys. And I was like, I'm always talking to the assistant special teams guy. I'm like, you gotta get me on. So the next week they're like, we're gonna put you on. We need you out there, because like there's a lot of guys going both ways on defense and then going special teams. I'm like, thank you. So then I get in, and then rest from there is starting on all 4 special teams, contributing. Got special teams player of the week against FIU. That was fun.
Who'd you hit the hardest?
Who hit the hardest?
Who did you hit the hardest?
Who did I hit the hardest? Man.
Crazy
Playing
tag.
30 games in a bowl game.
30 games.
Officially on the stats on
Yeah.
the website. So action in 30 games. Who'd you hit the hardest?
Who did I hit the hardest?
Which
What would
school?
have been?
Oh, I actually know. It was the year before that, our first game, Southern Miss, the 2022 year. On kickoff, I came down. This guy tried to block me. I just obliterated this dude.
Hey, we need that film up. So get that film up.
I obliterated that dude, and then I shed off, and I made the tackle, but then I got crapped on. He kind of ran me over, but I made the tackle, and then the funny thing is, he was on top of me in the pile. I was like, I got you. And he goes, yeah, but I trucked you. I said, yeah, but I got you. And then it was kind of funny, but we both started laughing. He's on the other team, and like you kind of like see like at some points like you can laugh with the other team, and I was like, but I still got you.
That shit is
It's healthy
funny.
competitiveness,
Yeah.
you know?
It's like those little 5-second moments like.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that
Pile, you're like, what's up?
The funniest though, the time I got hit the hardest was against Wake Forest. Oh my gosh, and that was
remember this.
that was a
Pull that
game.
clip too.
Oh yeah,
That was a crazy game.
that was a game I got concussed. So we're on a kickoff return, and I was actually front line, but then we had two the same number on the field, so I had to go back to off return with Pop. So me and DeMario back there, and I was like, Coach, if they kick to me, I'm taking it. He goes, yeah, you can take it. That's not what happened. So every single time they kicked it towards me and Pop switched real quick, and so he could take it and go. So they kicked it off to us, and Pop got it, and I looked up field because I'm like, as off returner, you're supposed to get the most dangerous man off the rip. So whoever's the most dangerous, that's who you pick up. One of our guys missed their block. So just imagine somebody running 60 yards, full head of steam, full speed, going right at you, and you just watched him catch the ball, and then you're turning and you're trying to work up. So you have no momentum whatsoever. He has all the momentum. So I was like, I had two options, and I even told the team about this. Like for my senior speech, I said I had two options: miss the block, let Pop get killed, lose my job there, or get concussed. Don't let him get the tackle, and then move on. I got obliterated. Absolutely obliterated. I mean, and I came to the sidelines. Coach Burns was like, Eddie, great job. I'm like, I'm half drunk. I'm like, okay. We go into halftime. I'm sitting there. I'm like, just dazed. I'm just like, whatever. Finish out the game. But I was like, that is actually like, I got blown up, but it was like a highlight of my life because I felt like that play led to me getting put on scholarship for like my sacrifice and stuff like that. But yeah, it was it was a bad one.
Sacrifice your mental.
Just
Yeah,
sacrifice
yeah.
the brain a little bit.
Yeah, I'm a little loopy now.
So you did graduate from OU criminal justice major?
Yeah, criminal justice, homeland security.
That's what's next for you after football?
I don't like. So my plan was gonna go into Rangers in the Army and go like special forces, but I possibly have some sales jobs in the future for me because my friend he's helped me out with that. So I'm going to see that's about. So I'm applying, and I have some like almost like a foot in the door. So hopefully wherever that leads me. I mean, honestly, I'm just at this point. I'm like just.
This dude can sell though. Like
I can
seen that.
I can
Oh,
sell
wow.
anything.
This guy can sell.
We
Like,
need to hop on here.
Yeah.
See what's up, you know?
I mean,
I
what
see
you
him-
want?
Yeah, hey. I saw him when we did the booth workout. I literally was like, all right, like, okay.
I can talk a lot if you can't tell so far in the podcast. I like
we're
talking.
only 50 minutes deep.
50?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
man.
it?
50, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of.
From when I restarted recording.
Oh, okay.
Not the bloopers.
No,
No, not the bloopers. No bloopers.
Not the bloopers.
It's like 10 minutes of bloopers though.
Yeah.
Uh,
it is.
Well, no.
I'll see those in a couple of years. It's
But yeah, that's the goal. I mean, wherever God leads me, I'm fully invested wherever he leads me, and that's where I want to be. Is in God's plan, and wherever He wants me to go, I'm good for whatever.
Shout out Drake.
Yeah.
God's plan.
Shout out to Jesus Christ.
Shout out to Jesus Christ.
I agree. Most I
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any closing statements from the brothers here?
Well, you
Like-
know,
like
I mean,
proud
I'm
of
proud
each
you for your
other.
journey, dude, you know,
Appreciate
absolutely. I watched you from. I wish I watched you more in high school. You know, I was dealing with my own crap
Yeah. No, you're good.
mentally with my injuries and all that. But I'm glad I got to watch you through all of those years and got to earn what you did. I mean, it's not easy. I think anyone can attest that. Like going through all those trials, like that's not for the average person. Most people will quit. I would say 98% of people would quit.
Mm.
So for that being said, like you going through that, your life is gonna be so much easier, and you're gonna be able to handle stuff. Cause like life's not gonna stop being hard.
No, life's
You know,
not hard.
It's gonna
Life is hard.
It's tough. But like, you know, when you get married and you get out with kids and all that, and then you teach them things, like you're gonna carry that through the whole life and not gonna be more proud as a brother.
And I really appreciate like all the support you, mom, dad have always like had for me and stuff. And like watching you start your own business and with Jesse and all you guys like Malik and like doing all your stuff, I've seen like the stress it's put on you, but also the outcomes that come from it. And you keep on putting your head forward and keep going, like all of you guys. And I do really appreciate the stuff you're doing, because you're not just like doing it for yourself. You're motivating people outside of that. And like starting your own business is hard. And I mean, I think anybody that's starting their own business, they can see that.
Yeah.
But like seeing you do all this and like how much growth you've had and like where you're at now, it's a testament to like who you are as a person, man. And I really appreciate it. I love it, man.
I like you, buddy.
This is great stuff, dude.
Yeah, man.
It's not okay to cry though.
I ain't gonna cry though.
Nobody
This
cries on
doesn't
the
count
pod.
as a 3.
Yeah,
Nobody
Yeah,
cries on the
it's,
pod.
it's good. It's good.
Well, this is a really important episode because Elite Air was kind of brought to us by our little brothers. So it was like a super special episode, Daddy
Yeah.
and Eddie. Do you want to say anything about like we built Elite Era kind of to be the big brother for our little brothers?
I mean, that's the
So-
concept, right? We're trying to have a whole hub that, you know, different platforms that we can take, you know, to each individual, different,
Well, when you got a little brother, like, what are you doing to help him out? Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll bring you a Gatorade. I'll play catch with you. Like, I'll bring you your glove or your cleats
the
that you
mind,
forgot.
dude.
Yeah.
Just like the encouragement,
Mindset,
you know,
yeah.
like when you're feeling down and out, like, I mean, I think you can attest to this, like, as much as you love mom and dad, like, when you hear it from them and then you hear it from me,
Yeah,
you
it's two
probably
different things.
respond way differently, you know, it's like, it's nothing against, it's like,
No, you love them to death. It's just different.
it's just a different, you know, you look at them as like a higher up, and then it's like when you're brothers, it's like you almost have more relatability.
It's more real.
They hit different.
Yeah.
Because like if mom and dad are saying something, and then you know you're like and then like your brother's like, hey,
Yeah.
like they're kind of right or they're wrong or whatever the case is.
Because
like,
you were just going through the same things as me,
yeah,
just a couple years in advance as me, not
not far
20 or 30
You
years
have to
like
go
my parents.
first.
Yeah.
Pave the way
Yeah,
a little bit.
Pave the way for me.
Yeah, I had thoroughly enjoyed this podcasting. This was fun.
Yeah, that's perfect. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, if you want to give us one more yeehaw.
Yeah, any
Hey,
shout outs
hey,
or
hey.
anything like that you want to give?
Shout out Elite Era. Best
Shop
club.
leader official.
Official. Shout out mom and dad. I love you. Shout out my girlfriend in Argentina. Hurry up and get back. Shout out Liberty Football. Best football program in the nation. Gonna be too. But yeah. Eagle out.